Oh, what's going on, everybody? Here we are again. Another beautiful Sunday evening. Man, it's been a while. It's been a while, man. It's been a while since I made a video. Uh, kind of had a lot of things going on, and it's actually brings me to the reason why I'm shooting the video today. My channel is usually, if anybody has seen my first couple of videos I've shot, it's been really kind of talking about the occupation that I'm in, the job that I do. I'm in the oil and gas industry. A lot of people don't, uh, not too many people know about that and kind of know what I do. But um, today, man, it was just really on my mind, really on my heart, and really it's just something I had to get off my chest, man, about really how my occupation affects marriages, man. And man, I know it's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there, men, women, that are kind of affected by what we do for a living. And what I mean by affected is just the schedule, the stress. I mean, being being sleep deprived. I mean, I could go on and on and on, right? But man, family, your family, man, it's just it has to be a work life balance. And a lot of people are like, how do you balance a work how do you balance work life, and especially with what we do, working, I mean, over 100 and something hours a week, right? Getting 1 week off a month, man, it's stressful. It really puts a strain on relationship with your kids, relationships, with your spouse. It really just causes a lot of stress. There's a lot of stress. There's no other word for me to use. So, I don't know, man. My advice to my married couples out there that are kind of dealing with what I deal with, which is, once you come home, you really don't really have time for anything. That's really messed up to say, because a lot of people say, you make time for things that you want to make time for, right? So that's an excuse. But if you're dealing with being in the oil and gas industry, man, and it's really causing some stress on your marriages, man, you really just have to figure out what it is that's really most important. And I mean, I know that's like crazy, right? You're like, well, your family would be most important, right? Yeah, of course it is. But you also have to make money, and you also have to provide for your family. And, I guess what I'm getting at is, you know, when you come home and you are in a state of stress, and you are absolutely mentally, physically drained, it really has an effect. It really has an effect on your decision making, and it has an effect on some of the things that you say, um, some of the things that you do. I mean, it has an effect on everything, right? So, I mean, what do you do? What do you do, man? My marriage, for instance. I hate to. A lot of people don't want to put their personal business out here on social media, but this is not social media, but this is the internet. The internet. And, needless to say, I'm trying to rekindle my marriage. So believe me, I'm speaking to you guys from a position of, um, you know, trust me, I am speaking from experience, and it's really hard out here, man. It's really hard out here because I know somebody like me, man. I love my wife, and I want my marriage to make it, and I want my marriage to last. But what is marriage? It's crazy because me, I'm a fatherless child, right? So having to support a family and having to support a household and try to raise children, try to raise me, and I have boys um, in the house. When you don't have an image, when you don't have an image of what a father looks like, I mean, you just go off of what you think is best. You go off of what you know. You go off of all that you know. And for all my fellas out there, for all my fatherless men out there, man, I know the struggle. I know the struggle, man. There's a lot of things that we don't understand. There's a lot of things that we try to there's a lot of things that we do that we think is right. We think that we're doing for our family. But at the end of the day, a job is a job. At the end of the day, man, your family is really all that you have. Your family's all that you have because a job can let you go. You can come in one day and they can say, "Hey, you know what? We don't need you anymore. We don't really need you anymore. We don't need your services anymore. We're done with you." But at the end of the day, man, your kids, your wife, they're going to be there. So, man, today's video is just, it's really not any kind of particular topic. Well, I mean, we are talking about relationships and marriages and stuff like that. But for my men, my message to my ladies, no disrespect, but this is to my fellas. Fellas, man, do whatever you have to do. Do whatever it is that you have to do to make your marriage work, to make your relationship work. Because you know what, man? You know what I figured out? Your life, your day-to-day, there's a dog. Let's just hope we don't get attacked. Not a dog over there. See the dog? So I'm just walking around the neighborhood. But anyway, to my fellas, man, you do whatever you have to do. Especially if you're in a relationship that's that trust has been broken, or some things. I mean, especially if you're in a marriage that's been through some things, especially betrayal, anything, anything, man. It's just, you do whatever you have to do to make your marriage work, man. I mean, a lot of us men, we don't want to admit it, but man, a lot of times we can really, really be selfish. And especially fatherless children, right? Because when you grow up being a fatherless child and an only child, all you know, and all you've ever really had to figure out is how you were going to do this, how you were going to do that. It's all about you. So now when you get a family, the aspects of you having to think about people other than yourself, that's crazy, right? And not to mention, you're supposed to be on your journey, on your purpose. You're supposed to be trying to walk the path and trying to figure out the reason why you were put on this earth, right? You know, the universe is something else. The universe only reacts to, you know, force and energy. That's how everything revolves around. That's how everything moves, is energy, right? When you walk up to somebody, when you speak to somebody, yeah, you can hear it. You can listen to whatever it is that they got to say. A lot of people, a lot of people say some crazy stuff, right? And you're like, oh, what the hell is he talking about? Or she. But you monitor the energy that somebody's giving off and what kind of frequency is somebody's giving off to you, right? And fellas, I know I'm all over the place, but today is just a vent session, just to everything that's really been on my mind and everything that's really been on my heart. And it's been marriages and relationships and how to make them work and how to make long-term relationships work. That is really, really confusing to me. You know, you look at a lot of marriages, you look at some marriages that's been together, you look at a lot of people that's been together for 40 years, 50 years, and you're like, wow, every single person, it's crazy how everybody runs up to them and say, hey, how did y'all do it? How did y'all, what's the secret? Marriages that's been together that long, man, they have went through some ugly stuff, man. I'm talking about probably ugly heartbreaks, betrayal, separation. I mean, just whatever you can think of. But how it refers to what I do, with me being in the oil and gas industry, right, where fellas, all I mean by the oil and gas industry is this is a job that requires the majority of your time. You are trading your time. All of us that's working a 9 to 5 is trading our time for money. But this occupation, I mean, this is your life. This is your life. What I do for a living. And I really, really think that has an effect on our life. And I know. Just like I said a minute ago, man, when you come home, you are absolutely spent, right? You are absolutely emotionally, you're gone. You're done. You can't take anything else. But you have to come home and you have to go to your second job, just like women do. I know my women out there are like, well, yeah, I've been doing that for years. Fellas, even though I'm walking around the neighborhood just kind of rambling on and talking about relationships, my message today is, man, you do whatever it is that you have to do to make your marriages and your relationships work. Because you know what, with the way things are right now, you don't know who to trust. Everybody is leaving here. People are dying every single day. I mean, it's been like that forever, right? But it's worse. It's worse. And you know what? Trying to figure out what love is and why love is so hard is one of the greatest accomplishments of my life. Trying to be in a relationship that's so beyond physical. Very few people can do that. You have to be a superior man. Shout out to one of my favorite books, The Way of the Superior Man. But relationships, right? Relationships, marriages. I guess that's what it all boils down to, is relationships. Whether it's relationships with your kids, whether it's relationships with your wife or your spouses or whatever. Man, that's what it boils down to. And my deal is, how do you make it work? How do you make a relationship and how do you coincide with another human being? That's that's hard, right? That's hard. That's some difficult things. How do you coincide with somebody else that has different beliefs, that was raised with different outlooks on the world, that sees the world differently, that has different everything? Just another human, a complete another human being. How do you do that? How do you bring those two worlds in together? And y'all can, y'all exist as one. I know this is like some real cliche type crap, right? But I'm serious. With me, I have really gotten off into the depth of how do you coincide with another human being? I don't know. It's about communication. It's about trust. It's about being able to disagree. It's about being able to argue. Because everybody's going to argue. I mean, come on, let's be real. Everybody's going to see things. There's going to, one person's going to see things one way. One person's going to see things another. But how do you deal with it? How do you talk through it? How do you understand? You know what I figured out? I figured out that being a good listener and really just really truly honestly being interested in somebody else is the key. When we get up, pretty much 95% of people, they think about themselves all day long. What am I fixing to do? I got to do this, and I got to do, and I woo, man. I wonder, you know what? I should keep track of how many times and I'm guilty of it. I should keep track of how many times I say I all day, and not she, or in women's case, he. That's what I figured out. When you are genuinely interested in somebody else and become a good listener, that's the beginning. That's the beginning to a beautiful, wonderful relationship. It's a practice now, don't get me wrong. It is a practice. A lot of times us as men, we're not good at that. Some men are, but we're not good at that. And listening is a practice. So for my men, for my fellas, when you watch this video, if you happen to come across this video, I hope somebody can maybe give me a thumbs up, maybe give me a like for just the conversation. Yeah, this is he's just having the conversation of marriages and relationships. Hope somebody can support your boy and for just having a conversation, man. A lot of people run from this conversation. Man, I'm gonna tell you, there's some dogs out here. I'm walking through my neighborhood, but beautiful day to be alive. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about, man. It's about relationships. Fellas. Wow. Hope I don't get attacked out there, right? But it's about relationships, man. That's what the title of this video is going to be called. Relationships. Because as men, we go through a lot of things. As women, I'm sure women go through a lot of things as well. But my men know what I'm talking about. My fellas, y'all know the fight that we have to deal with every day. We have to deal with other men, and I mean other men as far as competition, as far as cutthroat, as far as people stabbing you in your back. I mean, that's life, right? You ain't got to cry a river for me, but I'm just talking about the fight that you have to go through every single day of our lives. But when it comes down to our relationship, just remember this. after every day, man, after you pray, after you get ready to go to bed and you get ready to lay your head down, man, I want you to send one up. I want you to send one up and ask the Lord to help you out. Don't mean to get religious. I'm not trying to get religious here, but it's about listening. It's about listening. That's something that I've had to teach myself how to do. Listening and generally being interested in somebody else besides yourself. Once you start learning how to think outside yourself, that's the beginning. That's the beginning to growth. That's the beginning to a lot of things that can be fixed in your life. As far as relationships, now, just relationships. You can find out a lot of information. You can observe a lot of different things. It opens up a whole new world when you learn to listen. Shut your mouth and just listen. That's the beginning, in my opinion. That's the start and that's the beginning to every great relationship. Listening and generally being interested in somebody else besides yourself. Only superior men can do that. Only superior men can do that. I'm interested in how your day went today. What did you go through today? You know what? I'm going to sit and I want you to tell me about what struggles did you deal with today? That's growth, man. So, today's video is about listening. Learn to listen. And it'll really, really change your relationships. If it's a practice, if it's something that you got to practice it. But that is the start. That's the beginning to every great relationship. Learning how to listen. From Fracan to financial freedom, I'm Lo Trey. Y'all subscribe to the channel, man. Hopefully y'all can throw me a like. Just for having a conversation. Just for having an open conversation. Everybody stay prayed up. We all we got. One love, man. I'm out.